Good morning. Today is Monday, March 1st, 2021. I am the firstborn in my family. You may think that it's fun to be the firstborn. It's an envious position of power and prestige. But it's not what it used to be. And it all changed in this week's Parsha, the Parsha of Ki Sisa. Originally, God's intention was that the spiritual leadership of the Jewish people, the aristocracy of the Jewish people, would be the firstborn in each family, so that each family would have one member that was raised above the others for leadership, for spirituality, to serve God, to be a role model. That was the original plan that God had. And there were lots of privileges that would go along with that. The privilege to be able to give blessings to the rest of the Jewish people, the privilege to be supported by the rest of the Jewish people so that the firstborn would be free to serve God in a supported, subsidized manner. All sorts of other privileges were due to the firstborn until the golden calf. And the sin of the golden calf, the Egel HaZahav, the firstborn were among those who participated. But there was one tribe of the 12 tribes, there was one tribe, the tribe of Levi, that did not participate. And so God decided to make a transfer. God transferred the privileges of the firstborn to the tribe of Levi, to those who are today known as a Kohen or a Levi. They assumed that position as a substitute for the firstborn of each family. That's a radical transformation in how the Jewish people would work, and it occurred as a result of the sin in this week's Parsha of the golden calf. In Jewish life, for the last over 3,000 years, to be a Kohen means to be honored and to be privileged countless times throughout life, within Jewish life, in the synagogue, in ritual manners. A Kohen has this great privilege. I'd like to suggest a thought that should pop into our head each time we see a Kohen receiving a privilege that others do not receive. And this applies to everyone, but it's especially poignant if you are, like me, a firstborn who originally had that position and lost it. So here's the story. This is a true story, and it's a striking story. About 100 years ago, a young man went to visit the Chavetz Chaim. The Chavetz Chaim, Rabbi Yisrael Meir Kagan of Radin, was the greatest Jewish scholar and leader in his time. He lived in this tiny town in Poland. And this young man came to visit him. He was a guest. So the Chavetz Chaim said to this young man, "Tell me, are you a Kohen?" The young man said, "No." Chavetz Chaim said to him, "It's a pity. It's a shame. I am a Kohen." The Chavetz Chaim was a Kohen. He says, "I am a Kohen. It's a pity that you're not a Kohen." He said, "Tell me, perhaps, maybe you're a Levi, second best, not as privileged as a Kohen, but at least a little bit." Young man says, "No, I'm not a Levi either." The Chavetz Chaim says to this young man, "Why not?" The young man didn't know what to say because, obviously, you're a Kohen if your father is a Kohen. You're a Levi if your father's a Levi. If your father's not a Kohen, you're not a Kohen. If your father's not a Levi, you're not a Levi. And obviously, the Chafetz Chaim knew that. What kind of a question is it? Why are you not a Kohen? Obviously, the Chafetz Chaim had an answer in mind that he wanted to share. The Chafetz Chaim said to this young man who was visiting him, he said, the reason that I am a Kohen and you are not is because when the Jewish people sinned with the golden calf, and the truth is, we don't even understand what happened. We today, we can't even grasp why in the world would people be attracted to worshiping a cow that's made out of gold? The whole thing doesn't make sense to us. We don't understand it. But the Torah describes in our parsha, the Jewish people did. They were somehow, for some reason, they were attracted with a fervor and an enthusiasm and a hysteria that just took over, even if we don't understand it, but our Torah portion describes it. Of course, as we learn in our parsha, when this happened, Moshe was at the top of Mount Sinai. And God said to him, Moshe, there's a problem down below. You better get down there and see what's happening. Again, we don't even understand how it happened, why it happened, how people were attracted to it, but the fact remains, most of the Jews were attracted to this, and they participated in worshiping the golden calf. And Moshe comes back down from the mountain, and the Torah says, Vayamod Moshe bashar hamachaneh. Moshe stood at the gateway to the camp, Vayomer, and he said, Mi la Hashem Elai. Who is for God? Come to me. Are you on God's side, or are you going to worship the golden calf? If you're on God's side, come stand next to me. Vaye'asfu elav kol b'nei Levi. And the entire tribe of Levi, what today we know of as Kohen and Levi, Vaye'asfu elav kol b'nei Levi, the entire tribe of Levi came to stand with Moshe. The Chafetz Chaim told his young guest, he said, at that fateful moment, when every Jewish individual had to choose between what was popular and tempting and what was right, at that fateful moment, your ancestor, he says to his young guest, chose to do what was popular and tempting and attractive. And my ancestor chose to do what was right, to stand with God, to stand with Moshe, to stand with what was right. And that's why the Chafetz Chaim said, I am a Kohen and you are not. The golden calf, the Egel HaZohav, is not a one-time event. It transformed the structure and hierarchy of the Jewish people forever, transformed the leadership of the Jewish people forever. It is an event that reverberates every day, including today and tomorrow and the next day. There are countless ways within Jewish life that we remember and invoke this episode of the golden calf. Ways that are dramatic and mundane, ways that are obvious and oblique. Our sages tell us that the sin of the golden calf and its effects impact every single Jew every single day. Our sages tell us that everything that happens to the Jewish people includes some portion of an effect of the sin of the golden calf. There is a golden calf beckoning us every day. Different appearance, different type, but every day we are faced with golden calves. And the most relevant and practical consequence of this event is how we respond when we hear those words, either audibly or internally, Mi LaHashem Elai, who will stand with me for God? Who will stand up for God? Who will stand up for what is right? Let's not make the same mistake again. Those like me who lost our position because we did not answer the right way. But all of us who are faced with temptation, with what is popular, with what is attractive, we're faced with golden calves every day. And these words of Moshe are directed to every single one of us every single day. Mi LaHashem Elai, who will stand for God? Let's make sure we answer correctly. My friends, I want to wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in person soon.